Welcome to Intentionalist podcast. My name is Coach Alice Mohirwa. I'm an executive coach, an image and etiquette consultant. Welcome to this platform where we share inspiring and empowering stories from executives and other experts to inspire you, to get to help you navigating life with ease. In today's episode, we are going to discuss how to rediscover your pleasure, how to rediscover your sexual pleasure. In everything intimacy, we are going to go deep into these taboo conversations that we know we need to talk about. Why is that us ambitious, busy women, we struggle with our sexual life most of the time? I brought an expert today who is willing to demystify, to really educate and also inspire and remove all these taboo misconception that we carry along with us so that we navigate this life with ease and claim our pleasure back. Welcome to Intentionalist podcast, Dr. Karen.
Thank you, Coach. I'm very excited to be here today.
Yes, me too.
After a long time.
Yes. I have been interacting with you. This is our fifth year?
Yeah.
No, sixth.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think from 2016 or 17.
2017.
Oh, no, 20. Yeah, I think from
2018,
2019 or
19,
something.
like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while. Though we have been interacting throughout, but that was our first meeting. I'm so glad that you honored our invitation to be here, and we are going to discuss these conversations around sexuality, pleasure. Yeah, pleasure in general.
Yeah.
Why is intimacy and pleasure something important for women?
Wow. I think it's, first of all, I'm a gynecologist. Yes. I think I need to... My name is Dr. Karen Muthembwa, an obstetrician gynecologist, and also the founder of Dr. Key Foundation. Yes. I usually also do a bit of social media and conversations around sexual and reproductive health. And I'm going to give you, the detailing in terms of what gynecologically, why intimacy, why is it even important? And by the way, you know that intimacy gives me my job, right?
Yes, it does.
Without intimacy, then we wouldn't come here. So first of all, it's important because it keeps me at work.
Yeah, true.
But let's get serious. Intimacy is, first of all, what is it? I think it's something that we really overlook.
Yes.
Intimacy is basically having, first of all, being in love with yourself, with your body, and also being able to experience your body at different levels, and also sharing the same experience with other people where you develop a connection. And that is why intimacy is there. So it's not just what you think that it is only physical, it encompasses so many other things. And it's important. Why? Because human being is a social animal.
Yes.
If I should put it that way.
Yes, I love that.
Like animals, kingdom, animalia. Yes. We are very social. We don't live alone. We first of all also need to understand ourselves first before we can be able to share our experiences with other people.
Yes.
So intimacy is that first of all connection with yourself and then also connecting with other people. It helps you grow. It helps you get to know yourself better.
Yes.
It also helps you understand other people at different level, because intimacy is not just love to another person, but like an intimate relationship person. But again, also with friends, there's still some level of intimacy that you experience with other friends. So it's not just the sexual thought about what intimacy is about, experiencing different experiences with different people at different levels. So in this case, if it's a romantic relationship, you're able to learn each other at different capacities.
Yes.
You get to know, you get to experience the experiences at the same time. And this is just part of those things that also keep your mental health in check.
I love that.
Yeah.
Then this led me to ask you, are there misconceptions around how people conceive the concept of intimacy and pleasure? Are they the same, or are they interchangeably connected, or are they completely different?
Yeah, I would say they are connected.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you really don't understand, you might be confused with some of the things that we experience, particularly in romantic relationships. So one of the myths that I find that most people don't get is that they expect that spontaneity is the only time that you experience and enjoy, let's say, something physical pleasure with somebody else. Actually, it's not all the time. Spontaneity is good. And you'll experience, by the way, once in a while. But even planning for intimacy, planning for those times with your partner is still something that can happen, and it can be still very pleasurable. Enjoyable, The other thing is also believing that women should always be ready for sex. If I should say that.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
We work in cycles.
Yes.
And that's one thing that maybe people need to know. That, a man is almost always ready to have intimacy, if I should put it that way. Or let me tell you the physical part,
Yes.
Men are always, just tell them, they'll always be ready. But women, on the other hand, will not always be ready for that sex. It's not that they don't want to. It's just a situation in time. Let me give you an example. During your menstruation, in just any woman who's in their reproductive age. So your menstruation has cycles. You're in a follicular phase, or you could be on luteal phase, or you could be whichever phase it is, premenstrual as well. It just depends on that time. Your hormones are always moving. If you look at our charts, we have progesterone all over the place. You have estrogen, FSH, so many hormones just working together, and they should be balanced. Can you imagine?
Yes.
And at any one point, it's not always that you'll always be in the mood.
Yes.
Yeah. So that belief that women should always be, why are we, you're frustrated? Why is this woman not in in the mood at this time?
Yeah.
So that's one of the other myths.
So should we say it is also our partner's role and responsibility to be aware of our cycles? So that they become good companions in that particular time when we are at our lowest in terms of feelings.
Yes. I think our partners should be able to learn. And that's why intimacy is not just sex, right? It involves your emotions at that point in time. If you've really been with somebody for a long time, and also for them, they've learned your system. Because every woman is very different and special. There are those ones who consistently be up in terms of they want to have intercourse all the time. I mean,
even during periods.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
nothing.
Up to you, right? But there are those ones who have cycles. I mean, you work with your hormones. It's not all the time. They will know that this time she's ready. You know, if they really learn you, they listen to you, because they have to also listen. And that's still part of intimacy, by the way. Not just sex, but also the presence, just being present. That's already intimacy, right? If they understand you, they know the time also when to try. And there's no problem with also trying even when you think that she's not in the mood.
She's not in the
mood. But listen to her. She will always give you the signals, or she will talk to you about those situations.
This is something that I would like us to talk about. When the man comes when you're not in the mood, there's that fear, because you have been a busy woman. You have been on the drive, on autopilot throughout. You have so many things stressing you, either at work or in your body. You are at your lowest season. Let's call it like that. The fear to keep saying no that drive women to do sex without a desire to do sex, and ended up making it like a performance. And faking it, faking the orgasm, faking the whole process of it. What are the danger of putting yourself in such a situation for a prolonged time?
I want to just remove the fear, first of all. Just to understand yourself first. If you understand yourself, then you know that you don't need to fear. Because the fear comes in because also maybe you've not communicated with your partner. It's always important to know that it's okay to not feel it sometimes. I mean, all the time it's only human to feel it sometimes. Even those people who don't necessarily have, the interest all the time, there are times they do have the interest. So you know that you're not in the mood at that point. It would be very important to communicate with your partner, and especially if your partner listens. Unfortunately, there are those ones who also don't listen to the conversation. They just want to go straight into it. What I would say is that you don't need to act it out. You don't need to even fake an orgasm. Because when you fake it, and you fake it all the time, what happens is the fact that you start to resent. You start to resent the person, first of all, because you see that they're still having it. And in fact, sometimes you even find people raping each other in relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you say no when you're already in the act. This person is already probably finishing. And then you cannot express yourself very well. So you resent the person. Secondly, you also start not liking yourself.
Yes.
Because again, you feel like you should have said something. You blame yourself. Then you also
Self-hate.
Self-hate. You also don't like sex anymore after that, you know. Then it creates this situation where you're always feeling like you're in a toxic situation every time you're having sex, you know. So it's always good to communicate with your partner. Just tell them, I'm not in the mood today, or, you know, just find ways to but you have to communicate. You cannot just say, I said it in my head, that he will know.
Yeah.
There's no way he will know.
Why can't you see? Why can't you see that I'm tired?
That I don't want to have this.
Yeah.
Just say, you know, babe, you know, just talk to them nice.
Rejecting the leg.
Or
pushing
the hand,
away
you know,
the hand.
starts to move, or they start to turn you, you know, have that conversation, you know, babe, let's have it this time, or, you know, you can, and by then you can plan it.
Yeah.
Because for sure, it's not all the time that you'll be like that, but there are times that even you yourself, you can initiate, so that he also doesn't see that he's the only one who's trying. Unfortunately, even in marriage, you'll find a lot of men saying that she refuses to have sex with me, or and you know, because again, maybe they're communicating, but there's also that situation where you're not at it at all as a woman, probably because of, again, hormones, or you have children, you're breastfeeding, your life is going fast. As you can see, most of the women we're talking to are the ones who are consistently working.
Yes.
You have a small baby, immediately you reach home, the first thing is your baby, then your food, then later on
there's
your
someone
husband.
say, I'm also waiting.
And you're tired, and it happens. It happens. So have that communication. Even your partner should communicate with you and say, gosh, it's been a month, you know, it's been 2 months, it's been 8 months, it's been 1 year.
Yes.
Listen to them, because they're saying something as well. You know, get to see even a sex therapist, because at this point, if you're taking 8 months, what's the problem? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be refusing all the time. And especially if you're in a committed relationship that actually requires you to take part in having intimacy. It could be physical, it could be emotional, you know, because all that encompasses, even in the Bible.
Yes.
You have a duty as married people.
Yeah.
You have a duty to give,
to consummate.
Yeah, it's like a duty. It's a duty. Even him, he has a duty to give you. So if there is none like that, then something is wrong.
Dr. Karen, this is taking an interesting turn, because you might have a medical condition or a situation or a phase as a woman or even as a man that give you low libido. And in that situation, you as a couple, you are on a dry spell for a certain time. As a person, how do we build the intimacy? If sex is removed in the equation, how can a couple still maneuver the level of intimacy and pleasure of bonding at each other and creating good intimacy without the element of sex?
Yeah. And I think that's what we really need to talk about, because sex is not the only thing that means intimate. As a couple, and especially when you have an issue, first of all is the knowledge of that issue. For example, being diabetic as a male, you're on medication, and that medication may reduce your libido. You may not be able to perform at that moment. And it's not not forever. It happens, right? Even stress can give men, like he's stressed out, drive, he will not be able to, or maybe even sustain the erection, or they can have premature ejaculation. And those are issues that can even stress him more, the fact that he's unable to
service you proper.
Exactly. It gives him, it's true. It gives him so much stress. You know, because again, women talk.
And or get angry when
you or you might have an understanding
like,
wife.
This is all you got?
Yeah, like I want it now and there's nothing, it can be very frustrating. And the opposite is true as well. You've just given birth, you've been, you're breastfeeding, you have twins, your breasts are aching, everything is aching, you're just not in the mood.
Yes.
And at that moment, he needs to know the condition, like the way you need to understand his condition. Maybe he's into drugs, maybe, those things are happening right now. You're taking Mira will put you will want to have it, you'll want to have sex, but you can't. The drive is there, but you just can't bring it up.
Yes.
Maybe let's just put it that way, So first of all, understanding the situation at that time. That's the first thing that everybody needs to know. Sex is not the only thing that you need to have intimacy. Even a kiss.
Yes.
Even a kiss for 2 minutes, unbelievable, can really, really change the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe you're angry at each other. You're feeling like, I just don't want, you can just, breathe, and just kiss. It may not really give you, like, if you're not really into it, the other person will still get the satisfaction of there is something we are sharing, having bed night talks, even for 10 minutes before you sleep.
Bonding.
You bond, you just stay in bed, let's talk about, that is still intimate, things like hugging and cuddling, holding each other. You don't have to have sex, you just have to, even just that's already intimate. Those are the things that we really don't talk about. Unbelievable. I think I also saw it on TikTok where couples just...
I think that's where I am.
You
I'm in a stage where I just want to have a buddy moment, talking overnight until morning, and by the way, it has a very big difference. Even sitting, facing one
each
another
other,
like that,
and just sitting in quiet, no phone, no TV, nothing, just facing
the
each
two
other.
Of you,
So again, it's not just sex; it's just the presence. And that's why I think I need to have people who have not read this book by Gary, what's his name? Gary someone, about the five love languages. I think that's one of the things that we need to really understand, because others like touch, others like presence, acts of service, and all that. It doesn't mean that sex is the only thing. I could just be your partner, but I like your presence here. I like you being around me. I like you just being there. That's enough. Or you offer something, so you don't have to. We're not saying that
bombard
you replace
somebody with sex.
I mean, it sometimes can be very frustrating when it's every single day as well, because you can also overdo it until you lose the meaning of intimacy.
And I think this is the conception that many young people go into marriage with, thinking that I have to serve sex. That's my meaning in this relationship. So you end up doing it as a duty than creating a moment of bond and connection. And then at some point you outgrow it. Because you feel like I've served you.
Exactly. And that's how people even get into relationships. In fact, if you look at the people who get into relationships because they're having pleasurable in sex, let me just say that. Once that is over, then the other things miss out. There is no conversation. So you realize someone is not listening to
someone was into you because of the fantasy of pleasure. So once that is removed,
then what else
remains? No meaning.
Then who is you and me? What are we doing? And that's how now you find people even going through divorce immediately. Like after you get married and then give it 6 months, the part of pleasurable, because there's that spontaneous one that you get at the beginning, and then you can get it only on alternate or intermittent times. But now when there's no every time, you're having no sex because now it becomes a duty and there's nothing else holding you together, then that's where the problem comes in. And maybe when you look at arranged marriages, maybe, I'm not saying that I would want to be in an arranged marriage, but you'll find that they don't get into the arranged marriage because they were sexually intimate, or that was not the first thing. You're introduced, then you know that this one is good as a husband, this one is good as a wife. You guys look like you're wife. I don't know whether there's wife, but this is a wife material. There's a particular material.
And
sex becomes a thing that is coming later.
Yeah.
And once they discover the other, so that's why they're held by the other factors as compared to having sex.
Yes.
I'm not saying that it's not, it's okay to also be sexually attracted to someone.
Yes.
And that's okay, because again, there's that interest. Because you can look at someone and say, no, this one is not going to be a potential. You know, you can look at this one and say, okay, even before he approaches you.
Yeah.
Women tend to know, by the way, you know, way before that this one is a potential, right? And you know way before this one is not going to go close to you at all.
I wish you don't experience something different, and whatever you thought was good, when you get on the field and you find that the package is empty,
it's different than what you anticipated.
Yes, it's very great for life.
So I think the other things are very, very important, especially for the young people. It's not just about sex, but unfortunately people learn in the relationship. Yeah. You don't learn before the relationship.
Now, speaking on that, how do we make it pleasurable? One of the key elements we all have learned is into the preparation.
Yeah.
The foreplays. How do we make it in a way that it makes a woman more arousal? How can I make my foreplay a moment to also pour in me? Because most of the time, traditionally or culturally, I don't know about the Kenyan tradition, but where I come from, we are educated from a young age as a woman that you have to serve. Yeah. So you come into the sexual act in the doing mode. In a perfection and a performance mode. Yeah. Because I have to deliver pleasure. I have to deliver pleasure to my partner. I have to make him enjoy it. And then in the process, you might also enjoy, but your main purpose, I think we have been trained like that traditionally. Yeah. The role of a woman to make the sex become more enjoyable is when they see their partner enjoy sex to the completion. Yeah. To the most of the time, this take women so many times to not take care of what they feel in the delivery, while delivering pleasure to the other person. How can you help us demystify that, allowing ourselves also to feel and enjoy the process of delivering good sex? Yeah.
First of all, I want us to love ourselves. As I said, intimacy starts from us. Yes. Because if you don't love yourself first, get to know yourself first, then how are you you cannot pour from an empty cup. Yes. You have to be full. Yes. Right? An empty cup. And that's how when you and that also plays with your attachment style as well. Because if you're just doing to make the other person happy, what if this person, because that's not what he does outside, has nothing to do with you, right? It's about them. Right? So if you find out that they are getting the same thing again from you, which you feel like you've given everything, then you're going to feel like you don't know anything. You're going to feel like you failed because it becomes a duty. And that means you did not even, you're not giving to yourself, first of all, because you've given everything to somebody else. So you must love yourself first. How do you love yourself? Is to get to know, spend time with yourself as well before you can even give. And even if you're in that relationship already and you have been giving, you can actually decide that first I must love myself before I give to my partner, right? Yes. Loving yourself means you can do things that are pleasurable to you, for example. Yes. And I'm not saying which we'll still talk about the sex, but there's a lot of things that can be pleasurable to you. For example, going for a massage. Yes. You get to know your body better. Yeah. First of all. Because you're giving to yourself. So that massage you're going to get, how does it make you feel? It's not about the other person giving you the massage, by the way. It's about you. Are you experiencing what's your experience with that massage? It's about your mindfulness sessions that you need to give to yourself, right? And then now when we come to sex, how well do you know yourself? How do you know your pleasurable areas?
How well do I know my pleasurable area? I know my most erotic area. Yes. And I will probably request, touch me here, do it this way.
Yeah. And you can say you cannot tell him what you don't know.
Yes. So
you have to know.
Yes.
But how do you know? You have to also spend time with yourself
Yes, spending time with myself or allowing myself to explore.
Exploration. And that's where I was heading, actually.
Yeah.
Self-exploration, get to know what your erotic areas, you know.
Yeah.
He will not know if you don't tell him.
Yes.
There are others who will try, right? They will try to find out, you know. But it also makes them feel happy when you can explain to them.
Yes.
And that's one of the things maybe we don't usually really explore. You just keep quiet and let him just
discover,
you like enjoy. There's no way. Maybe he thinks what he's experienced with somebody else before you is what you will enjoy. But that's not the case, really.
It is true.
It's good to have that conversation. So self-exploration, get to know yourself, first of all, before you can be able to pour. When you're full, that's when you can be able to pour. Because he will also pour into you if he understands you better.
Expressing our desires.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because this is something also women who are, there's a certain level of vulnerability in intimacy. Because when you tell someone this is how I want it, probability probability to be judged, to be rejected or to be refused is a 50-50 affair.
Yeah.
And I think
you rather to try than not to try at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any, what word do I use? There's holiness in sex, right?
Yes.
But there's no good girl in sex.
Yeah, true.
When you're actually having it, the more you can express yourself, the more, you know, because like sometimes usually people think, you know, they say Alice,
the more ratchet you go.
Alice is so nice. But that's different.
Yeah.
I'm not married, but I know I've learned. I've also listened to our pastors. And I do listen to that, and I know even them they express that when you are in bed, only you two know what you're doing, right? Yeah. Only you two, so you know you
allow yourself to get lost.
Allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Because that's the only, you cannot live holding yourself like I want to do this and he can't do for me because he's going to judge. He's your partner for whatever time. It will be forever. And you know, if you don't tell him, he will never know. You know. And sometimes some of these things can be a bit tricky to even ask.
Yes.
You know, not even ask. You're just saying. But I'm telling you.
That's why I'm saying it has a high level of vulnerability because you don't know at what extent are you exposing yourself to. Because sometimes you know something, probably you have experienced it before, and you are scared. If I tell him, he will ask me, where did you learn this? How did you get to know that? Such a thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to foreplays and the safety and the hygiene around it, I think as a gyna, you are the right candidate to really judge for us. Because I see we do so many things that are they safe? Are they unsafe? People who use honey, who use yogurt, oils, fruits. There were videos I saw some people, put them inside. Yes, you see the way they soak I'm not giving you ideas. The way they soak strawberry in chocolate, and then they decorate them around I don't want to name it. And then
in your area.
Yes. And then the guy is picking one by one. As he's trying to you understand
whether that is okay or not.
Yeah.
As long as you don't put things inside.
Yeah.
I think that like in the situation where you talked about putting, you know, like different things to just guide him where to go and everything.
Yes.
That's I will not be opposed. You can try things as long as they do not change your surroundings of your vagina, the inside there, right? The outside, again, also what you put matters. So, because for example, you're putting the strawberry and the chocolate, I think, gosh, by all means. Just, as long as you don't put it inside.
Yeah, it was inside.
Inside.
Yeah, like at the entry. I was like, what?
A bit tricky, you know, because again, the entry part, you know, the thing is you're putting now chocolate, sugar and everything inside. You may actually change some of your pH and everything just because of that disruption, right? But outside, I mean, go ahead and that's
yogurt.
Don't put anything inside. The outside is fine. The skin is okay. Where it's skin above is okay. in your wherever else, that's fine, but don't put anything inside, because even by the way, swimming pools, I think some of the things maybe we don't discuss is also when you go, there are people who even have it in pools, sometimes you might get steam, infections, it may be steam bath or whatever. There's a lot of bacteria that is just everywhere, and you don't want to just catch something because you had a moment in, unless it's your own swimming pool in the house,
even if the chlorine and all that,
it's going in and it's killing some of the normal bacteria. So you have to be very, very careful. I mean, have sex, but have it in a safe way.
Yes.
You know?
I love that.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of that, I've seen so many things that people use. I'm not against Ayurvedic approach.
Yeah.
To each their own. But what are the consequences of, I've seen people using, I don't know, pills, salt, okra water, pineapple. I remember you did a video on pineapples.
I did.
Yeah. What is this type that of us preparing ourselves for that moment to be very sensual and beautiful and memorable for us and for our partners?
Yeah.
And we have this tendency to try to change, alter, or beautify the normal odor of the vagina.
Yes.
Because we want to make it smell like, I don't know, like a flower.
Flowers and butterflies.
Yeah, like a garden of lavender.
And by the who said that's not like lavender? I mean, the normal smell is supposed to be present,
Yes.
All these things we talk about, if you take it orally, I mean, it's a vegetable, it's a fruit, by all means, eat vegetables and fruits. In fact, eat even more if you can.
Yes.
If it is the okra, just take it. I mean, it's health, it's plants and vegetables.
Yes.
I will just say don't take them.
Yeah.
But your expectations of those things, just reduce them like this. Because it's not always that when you take something, it's going to change your whole body. Okay? So all these things like, for example, pineapple. I think I've just had this conversation many times.
Yes.
Pineapples will never, ever change that down there to become pineapples and flowers.
Pina colada.
Pina colada. Okay? No.
Pina colada sweat.
It doesn't work like all these things have it. Let me even ask those people who have been using, are you seeing the smell of pineapple if you've been eating pineapples all the time? No. I mean,
but there is something when you eat spicy things like garlic, many onions, there is a way they affect your sweat.
Yes.
Your
the
smell.
Sweat will smell like those things.
Yeah.
There are things that when they go into your body, for there are people who even have egg breath or egg whatever.
Yes.
You know, there are things that have very strong, pungent smells, like garlic. People eat garlic all the time. Their sweat may smell like garlic.
Yes.
The same way if you eat even turmeric, sometimes some of your parts of the body can turn yellowish.
Yes.
Unbelievable, right?
Yes.
But now a pineapple is not that strong to convert into your sweat, because the smell down there is usually sweat, your discharge, or just normal scent, right?
Yes.
That scent is not supposed to be removed. It's like the way you say, I'm going to eat pineapples so that my poop can smell like pineapples.
Yeah.
That's not true.
It doesn't
smell like that, right?
Yeah.
That poop will smell like poop.
Yes.
Your vomit will still smell like vomit even after eating a pineapple.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever is down there, the scent that you have, it is God-given, by the way. It is supposed to be there because it is a part of your natural, special, specific scent. You know, that even I always say, that your mate will also even pick up on it.
Yes.
You know?
In fact, there are so many males who tell me that they prefer the natural, that savage scent of a vagina, the way it is. Yeah, I call it savage. Yeah, the way it is.
Yeah, even if you try everything, you will not be able to completely remove your natural scent. The same way you use perfume. Sometimes you can even use antiperspirant, and still you have some level of a scent. It may not be as strong, but it's still gonna be there. So there's no way to completely eliminate the scent of the vulva. It's supposed to be that way. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that clarity. Now, let's go back into the actions themselves, because we cannot speak about rediscovering pleasure for busy women without going into the technicality of intercourses.
Yeah.
what helps women experience pleasure, orgasm, and prolonged orgasm, if I can call it like that. Is it into the preparedness, or is it into the technicality, or is it into the expression, how you as a person express your desire sexually? Explain the palette.
Yeah. I would say it's a combination. Everyone is very different.
Yes.
There are people who want the sex before the sex.
Yes.
Right? Who enjoy the sex because it came before the anticipation. The care. Let me speak about man being the partner.
Yeah.
The man showing his interest even before the time. The interest is, he calls you, tells you, babe, just prepare yourself at night. And of course his voice is
you. Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah. Yes.
His care. That one, and that is why I think when you find like particular men are able to get women, even those ones are very hard to accept, by just creating the anticipation.
The women, I don't know how you say that in English. In French, we have a saying that women are usually aroused by the talking. And then men are usually aroused by the seeing.
The vision.
The vision.
Yes.
So the men who are sweet talkers, who know how to really speak to your heart, speak to your desire, can easily move your heart.
Yeah. That creation of an anticipation of something good that will happen actually puts you in the mood. Okay, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I know for a lot of women, right? That anticipation of, he's taking out for dinner.
Yeah.
Or he's calling you and telling you good things. I'm coming home with, I'm coming home, don't cook. That. Yeah. And then the fact that he shows he's caring and he's planning for something.
Yeah, any feminine woman will enjoy the chasing.
Right.
Yeah, like he's chasing you from the beginning, from the morning, he's coming, or sometimes he's even telling you, don't do this, I have prepared that. Don't do that, off duty and all
acts
that.
Of service. No, that's where the five love languages.
Yes, I've seen a video of Nameless and the wife showing that love language when you are, I don't know if you have been together for 10 years, is doing her house chores. And people think it's a joke, but to some women it is actually seductive. Because you are showing me that you care, that you want me to not get tired, because you want us to have a good time. And then now, of course, that is basically part of foreplay. Even when, let's say if you're living together and he leaves and he maybe hugs you from behind, does something, that shows you, oh, tonight is gonna go down, so that's all foreplay. Even just the talk on phone, calling you and finding out how you're doing. Can I pick you up from work tonight? Don't pick the, those kind of things, right? Don't you just enjoy that? Yeah.
And then the during, how he serenades you, and different ways of serenading. Either he decides, I'm gonna cook tonight, and makes it sensual, candid dinner. That's, if you have to keep yourself off kids for that, because kids can really change your situation.
Yes.
And then now
talk about that.
And then even for us, we do have a you said they're visual.
Yes.
You dressing up, not only for yourself, but even for him. Because you're doing first for yourself, how do I feel about tonight?
Yes.
And then also for him. And then you see the desire that he has because of his vision.
Yes.
That also increases the anticipation.
Yes.
And also the potential. The potential pleasure that you're potentially going to have, And then, of course, now the actual act. If you know each other already, you already know what to do. And he can surprise you with something new, and I think we need to be open-minded to particular things, of course not what you're uncomfortable with, because there are many other things that can make people uncomfortable, so you can also keep it within what's acceptable ranges between the two of you, because there are people who go all out, try new things, whatever, and then of course spending time together after.
When we speak about that preparation, that anticipation, he has done all that. Now, there is a category of women that I'm speaking on their behalf. These are women who are constantly stressed, busy, who have chronic stress.
Yes.
And this also affects their readiness. They are numb completely. They don't think about sex. Sometimes they do it because they are scared of saying no so many times.
Yeah.
The guy has prepared, has done dinner, has done everything to the letter as you want, but for you are not there yet.
Yeah.
You find such a category of women, because of fear, they are coming to do sex so that they respond to the giving.
Yes.
But they are not there emotionally.
For themselves.
They are not there for themselves.
Yeah.
They end up running to all those other ways that you see women use to lubricate, to make the easy way for the man to end the music, so that they can move on with their lives.
Yeah.
We have seen several things people use to lubricate.
Yes.
What are the safest ways? A woman who is experiencing dryness, either through stress or just simply a moment, either perimenopause or menopause, there's that harsh dryness that happens.
Yeah, life happens.
What are the safest way to lubricate as a woman?
Okay. Lubrication comes from many things. First of all, your body must be functioning right.
Yes.
Functioning right, it means the normal glands and ducts should be functioning, so that you can be able to get the normal lubrication. We've said there are medical conditions that can make you, even menopause, perimenopause. When someone is going to perimenopause, their estrogen shoots down, and that changes your cells in the vagina. So in a way that you're not able to produce the natural secretion that should, even when you think that you're aroused, you just don't get that, you know. There are people who are not, first of all, even before you produce, you need to be aroused.
Yes.
The people who have, they're not aroused or arousable at that moment in time. As I said, being human, it's not all the time, but there's a time that you will be aroused. Yeah. So we need to find out, first of all, within yourself, is there anything that is, you have to be true to yourself, because as a busy person, and even for like people like us, right, we're always consistently doing either work or and we're getting calls, we're on call, you know, you are very busy, and sometimes you may forget to really get into the intimacy part for yourself rather for your partner, you know. So it's good to note that even when you're very, very busy, you're not very busy 24/7.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Days have times. Times are 24 hours for each one of us.
Yes.
If you really plan well, because you can plan even for sex. And that's what I was saying. It's not just spontaneous that's good enough, but even planned can still be as good, you know?
Yes.
If you can be able to plan your days, you know that you're not going to be available maybe on Monday or Wednesday, but you know that on Saturday, you're around, right? You can plan for intimacy. Even for people who are planning for fertility, they're under stress, they are going through difficulties, they're getting the dryness and everything, they're on hormonal medication, yet they still have to plan sex, right? But plan it with the knowledge that you're also for yourself. You need that pleasure. For enjoyment and not for the functionality of fertility or the functionality of treating your partner or giving your partner what they want. Pleasure. It's about you now at this point, So each one of us has 24 hours and you can actually plan within those 24 hours. You just need 15 to 30 minutes. I used to joke with my Indian friend and tell them that, you know, I don't know if it's a bad joke or a good joke. You know, Indians, very, very good people. They go to work, they live together like in families, you know, like big families in one big house. And I wonder, when do you even have sex? You have children and everything. I mean, you make maybe noise or people will know these ends, you know. So I realized that even during lunch, like they will go to work, but at lunchtime, they will go home to eat food. Then I used to joke with her and tell her, maybe this is the time you guys just do it when the kids are away, you know. So find time, because time is there for everyone. Okay, you just need 15-30 minutes. maybe an hour, depending on how both of you agree to actually get there. In terms of lubrication, we need to treat the condition. So if it's menopause, there are things we can even give, depending on how your hormones are. We can actually supplement estrogen and be able to have some form of lubrication. If it is stress, we have to deal with that stress, because stress will not help in terms of natural lubrication. We'll end up having to use other forms of lubrication. So understanding each other, foreplay, that is so important. So important, right? And if in case that you're in a situation where still you're not getting aroused, or you're still aroused but you're not getting this, it's fine. You can actually use water-based lubricants, right? Because if you're able to get there at the end of it all, that's fine. It's just the lubrication that was the issue. Then you can use water-based lubricants. All these other things, coconut oil and all that, I mean
castor oil
and other people spit, spit, like saliva.
Oh no.
So what happens is that it may have, if you have like infections and all that,
and food particles.
So now we are introducing it down there. Why don't you just use a good water-based lubricant? I would avoid anything that has any flavors, because flavors may also react with you.
Vaseline.
Vaseline is not even a good, it's not a good lubricant. Just don't use that. Use water-based lubricant. That's when but see a doctor. I think that's one of the things that if you're not getting the number, because even there are people on medication, you see endometriosis and the rest, you might be getting that jab called the Gynaecologist, which puts you in menopause or perimenopause. So you're not able to produce. You can be very, very dry. And dryness is equal to itchy. Itching is equal to scratching, equal to getting wounds, equal to getting infections. And then you're not even able to have sex at all.
It is really exposing you.
It's a vicious cycle. So use water-based. You should be okay. All these others is, if you're gonna eat okra, go eat, but don't expect that it's gonna give a significant change at it today.
Wow, I love that. I love that. We really expounded sexual pleasure from the foreplay, the preparation, the act. Now, can we talk the after?
Yes,
the aftercare. What are we supposed to do?
Right.
After the Glovo man has delivered.
And that's why I talk about intimacy is important. The sexual act is not the only thing. The after is very important for both of you. This is where you produce oxytocin, happy hormones, adrenaline. There's a time I went for a bridal shower, and those ladies who teach about all these things, she said, this is the time you can ask your husband for a car, for a plot. It probably works. I don't know.
It does, because you are all at your best.
This is when you can even have conversations about, how I love you. What are these things? You want to, encourage him. You're doing so well. My husband, my partner.
Act of affirmation.
This is where you even use that, because you'll realize that will really boost even your next, because there'll be expectation and anticipation. The cuddling. Holding each other. You don't have to move and go to the bathroom and shower immediately. I mean, there was nothing holy, if I should use that. This is the time to just, as you are, just enjoy the space, being present, talk to each other, hug, kiss, sleep even. And there are people who even cry afterwards. It's called euphoria. It's actually a very normal response.
Yes, it does, especially when you have had multiple orgasms for women. You're overwhelmed with emotion.
And especially when you feel like something, it's come out, like something has just
like electricity.
You're happy. But so you're
electrified.
You're not crying because you're sad. You're crying because you've really had the best time of your life. That also improves your relationship with your partner. And even for them, they're able to talk to you. Sometimes you can even go back and repeat the whole system again severally if you want. The whole night, if you don't want to sleep, that's up to you. So the after is still very important. And this is also sometimes you're able to resolve also some of the issues, like my apostle would say. I really listen to them. He says, before you come for conversation about marriage, I mean, your marital issues, you fought, you what, before you come, we discuss. Go have sex, come back. let's talk. Your discussion would be very different.
Well, depends. Depends, because there are people who cannot do sex when they are angry at each other.
Yeah.
There are others who will be very mad at each other.
Yeah.
And do sex and then come back to be mad at each other again.
But almost immediately.
Yes.
Just look at the after.
Yeah. Then there are others who do sex.
Yeah.
And then they really reconcile and forget about
what happened.
Whatever happened that made them. Or there are others, because of missing each other.
Yeah.
They shout at each other, they get angry at each other, and then they knew that this is what I was missing throughout.
Yeah, but I think that we are not ignoring the problem. After is where you can speak at a different anger level. Your anger kind of like deflates, your disappointment deflates at that moment. Then you're able to have, like, now when you're breathing properly, you can actually have serious conversations at a calm level.
I don't know if that is applicable for me or to some of like myself, but I get what you mean, honestly. For those who can do it at that level, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, you can solve a lot of issues. But again, it's not just sex that calms you down. Again, it's the moments that you sit down facing each other, being true to each other, respecting one another, having boundaries as well.
Yes.
Because all that is part of intimacy.
Yes.
And especially when it comes to respectfulness and being very kind to each other. Yeah.
Now, coming back to a woman who wants to rediscover her pleasure. After probably you got lost with work, with performance, giving birth, there are a lot of going on in your body, contraception, what. All of a sudden, the things that you used to enjoy, you no longer enjoy them.
Yeah.
Are there ways clinically that you help women to go back into feeling sensual again? Is it a hormonal thing, or is it an aging thing?
At any one point, by the way, even in your reproductive age, like you're still in your reproductive, you can actually lose the libido or the interest. So it's not just age. And even there are people who go into menopause and they feel like they're even more, their libido is even higher than when they were younger.
Yes.
And the natural process and progress of a woman is that you even get better knowing yourself as you continue to age.
Yes. I used to have an auntie, she passed away. May her soul rest in peace. Every time we would talk, she was in her 60s, I think, when she passed. She would tell me, I need to come to Kenya so that you find me a husband. Do you want me to die like a widower? I want to come back. And I'm like, Auntie, I thought you have menopause. What do you want a man? I want a man. And I started thinking, do people in their 60s and all that feel like they are still desiring?
It depends. Depends on the person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can still have your libido shoot up. It may not change or it can go down. And especially during menopause. So that's why learning yourself is very important for you to really understand your body and how it works. Yeah. But now if you have a situation where you're losing the libido, even if you're not in menopause, and sometimes even the other people who have issues when it's too high. Yes. Because it cannot be. It seems like it's not enough, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's also something that may need help. You may need help, yeah?
Yes. You have a lot. You need to regulate.
Yeah. I mean, if your partner cannot keep up with you.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's possible. Because even men, their natural progress is that they will go up, have their libido very high in their 30s, 40s. Then it starts to dip.
To 50, decline.
60, and especially now later on in life, you feel maybe their libido goes, when yours is rising, that's where the disparity changes.
I see that.
And you find that at least at this point, that some women may even choose to have younger, active partners and keep quiet.
secretive.
Yes, exactly. So there has to be a balance. You have to know what is too much for you or what is too less for you, because you really need to know yourself. And that's the message. You really need to understand yourself at that level. If you feel like at this point, my libido is very low, I'm not really, you can actually seek help. And the help is through either a sex therapist. It would also be good if your partner is present with you, not just you going for a sex therapy session. I mean, how does it help? It has to be with somebody you're consistently with, who needs to understand where you are at this point in your life. You can also seek help from gynecologists. Now, for us, we may not go into the nitty-gritties of you should do this, you should do this, you should, because that's a sex therapy area. But for us, we will be able to help you find out what is there anything that is giving, what has changed suddenly, we may change your nutrition as well, because even nutrition really helps in increasing or we rarely have people trying to reduce their libido, but increasing libido. Things like drinking a lot of water, hydration helps you to also have a lubrication. Also things like chocolate, it gives you a good feeling, your oxytocin goes up, you're more likely to feel more interested in your partner if you've had really good dark chocolate, especially dark chocolate. There are berries that also really help you. I think people talk about peanuts and all those things. I really don't know about peanuts, but
avocado
is also very good. Vitamin, even omega 3 oils,
oyster.
Oyster. I've heard of oyster. Does it increase for women or for men or for all?
It does.
And what about octopus?
Both. Octopus, calamari.
Yes, oyster, calamari, right?
Yes,
calamari is octopus. I don't know. Anyway,
no, it's not.
Different?
It's different,
all that,
Shrimps,
They tend to also create that situation where, it increases your libido. So food, diet, and then, of course, hormones. If we're able to find out what hormones are deranged, then we can be able to at least supplement, especially if you're losing your estrogen very fast. We can actually supplement you with estrogen that gives you now that feel, People say that testosterone increase, and that's why we also think that when you go into menopause, the slight increase in testosterone may actually give you a bit of increased libido in view of that, because that testosterone really is there. That's why you find some people shoot up and have more interest. Now, if you have an issue with probably too much excitation, there are people who consistently have orgasms, and that's a condition. It's a very serious condition where you just have it without even any stimulation, even just a tap like this, you go into an overdrive. Now that needs to be managed even by a neurologist, because it means the nerves and also other things, surroundings included. I'm sure there are people who wish they had that issue, but it can be very tiring.
It is.
You can imagine having muscle spasms every 10 to 15 minutes. It is, you're tired, your pelvic muscles are extremely tired. They even pain. It's no longer pleasurable. You feel the orgasm, but you feel pain.
Because it is contracting.
It's a very, very, it can really disorganize you in life,
and that's why sometimes, not to cut you short, there are people who experience high intense orgasm, and then they tend to hold.
So you have now the pelvic muscles overreacting and contracting. You've heard of people also getting stuck. Because of the stress.
And some people have that myth of thinking that it is
witchcraft.
And all that. It's
actually a medical issue.
It is a medical condition.
And you'll find a lot of people, if you have guilt, maybe because of religion or because you're in a marriage and maybe you're stepping out, you tend to have that guilt. And then when you're having that orgasm, it holds, he cannot even leave. Then it becomes an issue.
Oh my God.
People say it is witchcraft. Even if there was that, there is a medical reason for it,
Let's conclude on this one for the construction of the machine inside as we age or through vaginal birth. There is a way the muscles inside shrink as people age or just simply because probably the hormones have reduced. The shrinkage that might take away the pleasure, that might need a certain level of reconstruction. Or some other people think at a certain age the muscles around clitoris are so loose, there's not a lot of circulation of blood that usually give pleasure to the to the clitoris, and that reduce the amount of pleasure that a woman is supplied. How can a woman who is in that condition correct so that they can they become more sensual and also enjoy sex better?
As you continue to age, many things happen. Estrogen is a very, very, very good hormone. And it is there because you need to have sex in your reproductive. I mean, we are supposed to be fruitful and multiply. That's why estrogen is also there.
Amen.
Yes. But as you continue to age, estrogen goes down because you're not producing eggs as before. And that's when the ovaries have said, you know what, you need to get into menopause. And when that estrogen dips and the progesterone, it means now your elasticity it reduces because the hormones are less. That's why you find there's atrophy that goes on. The vagina becomes smaller or tighter
or loose.
Most of the time though, atrophy is it is not elastic. It does not
narrows. It narrows.
It does not. It's not elastic as it should be. It is tighter. It may be tighter, but there are people who believe it is looser, but it's not necessarily it's just because there's also no lubrication. There's a lot happening even with the pelvic muscles, right? So the pelvic muscles can actually be you can do pelvic muscle exercises, and the pelvic muscles are the ones that hold the uterus. They hold the what else? The everything in place, because sometimes if the estrogen and progesterone has gone down, you can actually even have a prolapse. They fall through your vagina, which is also another condition that a lot of older women, like in their 70s and 80s, gosh, 70 looks so close, so I shouldn't say they're older. Okay, 70s and 80s, but that's the time people get prolapse and all that. So exercises, pelvic, even doing Kegels, it should be a practice for everyone. When you're even just talking, like right now, you can just count even up to 10, release for 10, like that. You don't have to have a particular systematic way of doing it, but you need to do Kegels as you continue to grow, because even the elasticity it will remain. You need to exercise those muscles just the way you exercise your hands, your legs, and everything. Seeing a doctor also, especially when you're experiencing even that elasticity issue. If you've given birth many times maybe, or you had difficult birth, it's possible to get that the way you're saying the muscles are easily expandable, and that means so whether the vagina is always a closed hole. I've said it maybe many times, it's closed, it's like this. So even if the difference may be elasticity, so it's not big like these people say it's big. No, maybe it's closed. It's closed. It's about the allowability, the elasticity of it. How allowable is it to put something inside? So if you have that issue, the elasticity, there are ways to also fix that.
If it opens so quickly, or
it's about allowability. Because the others are just hold. That's
it has to open with gentleness.
There's a way. It's like a rubber band. You know when a rubber band is tight, and you know when it's loose, right?
When it has lost its resistance.
Exactly. And that can also be fixed, not just only by exercises, but even cosmetic procedures can also be done to try and rejuvenate what we call a vagina, such as different techniques that are used, but particularly cosmetic gynecologists.
Ladies, if you know you are in this condition, please don't feel horrible. Don't hate yourself. Don't resent sex. Know that there are solutions that you can be helped. You can also enjoy sex one more time. And seek help so that you enjoy one of your birthright.
Enjoy life.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karen. This is so insightful, I believe. I would like to tell our listeners that it's not just about pleasure. It's not just about serving. It is also about enjoying ourselves as well. I would like you to also inform them, where can they find you? What particular help do you offer other than this kind of candid talks? What else do you offer women so that they look for you for help? So what I do when I say obstetrician gynecologist is I help women who are pregnant, and gynecology is for those ones who are non-pregnant but they have pelvic issues. Anything below the umbilicus down to your thigh, that area
here in front. That's what I do. Fibroids and cervical issues. Those are the ones. Cysts, ovarian cysts. So what I do, I have a channel on Instagram, Muthembwa. I'm also a founder of Dr. K Foundation. You can also follow Dr. K Foundation _ on Instagram. We have conversations around this. The videos that we've already made before. Yes. Every Monday we have conversation. It's called Daily Dose, where we discuss everything from fibroids, polycystic ovarian syndrome. You can ask. Sometimes we have a Q&As. I'm also on TikTok, where I also do lives on Thursday in the evening from 10:30 around that. So if you join in, whatever question you ask, I will try and answer to the full. So even if you don't get me on messaging, because messaging can really pass me,
yes.
Join us on those lives where I can be able to answer those questions. I also offer online consultations,
yes.
Where you book through drkmuthembwabookings.com. At gmail.com.
Yes.
That's on my Instagram. You should be able to get that. If you send a request, then we'll send you a link.
I think we can put your booking link in the description below.
Right.
Plus any other way you would like to be contacted, so that they can go there and book you.
Yeah. Then I'm able to have conversation with you online. But physically, I'm in Nanyuki.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to be Nairobi, but now I'm in Nanyuki. You'll find me at different hospitals in Nanyuki. Just book me through online, and then we can be able to have a conversation fully.
Thank you so much for making your time, sharing your insight and beautiful conversation around sexuality, sensuality, pleasure. Thank you for what you're doing with Dr. K Foundation.
Thank you.
We will also put the link down below, and I hope we will also have a conversation around that to help young women understand reproductive health better.
Yes, thank you.
Because it's very, very important.
Thank you. Oh, and I talk to teenagers as well.
Yes. Now, you got it. Sex is our right. Enjoying it is our right. Sexual pleasure is our right as women.
Yes.
Not allowing yourself to enjoy sex fully is deserving yourself as a woman. That's my takeaway in this conversation.
Yeah.
And also, we are responsible of our own pleasure.
Right.
So we should stop blaming our partner. We should stop you're jumping on me, you're doing that. That we play a bigger part in our own pleasure.
Definitely.
Isn't it that way, girls? Let me know what you think in the comment below. Thank you.